Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of April 29th through May 3rd. I will also go over your gap recap for the week of April 22nd through the 26th. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up, NIO. We ended the week at $4.49, up 8.72%. Congratulations if you've made some money off of this trade. This is where we ended. To the north side takes us to 2 standard deviations and 1 level of resistance and a potential take profit area, 463. A gap opens to the north side at 467, closes out at roughly 470. Another level of resistance, 473 and 483. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend and 1 level of support, 443, 424, 414, and 403. I will flip this over to the 15-minute and take a look at your gap recap. Previously, we ended the week at $3.80. As you can see, we ended the week at $4.49. This gap opened up on Monday and closed out immediately. And that took us to, $378.79-ish. This gap is a carryover from the previous week, closing out at $3.99, and we touched on Monday as well. So this gap is no longer in play. I will delete the price tag there so that way it cleans up my chart. This gap opened up on Friday. We gapped up, so I will anticipate a gap to the south side when we eventually close this out. And I will just extend it. I don't know when it is going to touch and then close out, but let's just do this just for giggles. And that will be roughly at 440 and closing out at 413. And if we touch this line, I will anticipate a bounce off of it as well. And again, as I have said many times in the past, there are many levels of resistance and support. Put on your Bollinger Bands, your VWAP, your trend lines, your Fibonacci retracement levels, whatever you like to do. Previous gaps also, because they will also act as support and resistance depending upon where they fall. Now, this gap that opened up on April the 12th, I have not moved it forward. And now I will clean this up. Sometimes I miss them. But it closed out on Friday the 26th. And then we ran up to 2 standard deviations and grinding along here and then falling back down, making another attempt. But if we hit this line, or this line, I will definitely anticipate a pullback as people take their profits and they run. They will lock in and they will leave you. And you'll be holding price up here if you're not getting in and out. And obviously you don't want to be doing that if you're just buying and holding long term. Set it and forget it and don't flip out if price goes up and then it falls because we are at resistance. All right, and then this gap is still in play to the following week. And then, Command Z if you're on a Mac to reset things. And this gap is still in play. That will take us to 519, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close yet, but something to be aware of. And then all of these other gaps that I have tracked a long time ago. See, look at that. Look at all the weeks I've tracked NIO. And we were going down, and you can see that we are finally going up on the 5-minute time frame. The trend has started to reverse. Obviously, if you play different time frames, it's going to give you different buy and sell signals. Next up, SOFI. Let me flip this over to the 5-minute and give you price targets first, and then we will clean up the chart and look at the gap recap. We ended at 787, up 3.69%. This is where we are at resistance, and I will anticipate if we touch this line or this line to start to crack to the south side. So that will be 791, 801, and 811. Ignore all my horizontal lines. Support 771. The lines are previous buy or sell zones for me. 752, 742, and 732. Oh, I just missed this gap. Let me draw this out. If you're not familiar with gaps, this is what I like to do. We gapped down, so I will anticipate a gap up when we touch, and we touched right there. Now, with the gaps that go up, I like to change that to green, indicating going up, red going to the south side. So we closed out right there at 759, and then we bounced off that. This is resistance. We didn't quite make this line and fell back down. And when we are up here, we fall down here. That is support. We started that last week at 711, and look at us. We are at 780, 787. Sell off here at resistance as well, as you can see, buy in at support. This gap is a carryover from the previous week, and as you can see, we've touched right there. So this gap is no longer in play. It closed out on the 24th, opened up on let's see, Friday the 12th. So I will delete my price. So that's done. That tells me when I look at this in the big picture really quickly, I know what's filled and what remains to be filled. All right, this one, the bottom, I will extend that, and we touched it right here, but it doesn't matter about the touch. Well, it kind of does, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the closeout, and look at that. We closed out on Friday right here. So this gap, we opened up on Wednesday the 10th and closed out on Friday. So that is done. So look at that, finally going up. SOFI has been beaten up. My goodness. All right, so if I flip this to the 15, just so I see a bigger picture, this gap is still in play. All right, I'll just end it there so you can see. Starts at 820, closes out at 857, and if we continue to go up, that could touch by Monday the 13th, if not sooner. We could bounce up here and then sell off as we hit resistance from this level. Okay, and I like to play within conservatively -2 and 2 standard deviations. The middle of the trend is obvious that we could get through there or go back down to the downside if we fall south. And then if we are south, this turns into resistance and then a sell-off area. All right. We've got another one up here. Like, so many good things in store for SOFI. If we could just chug along to the north side. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. The next one will be this one, touching this one at 820, and that could definitely happen this week. RIVN, okay, I've got to move along quickly here on the 5-minute. All right, 904 is where we ended for RIVN, up 6.10%. We are at resistance, and you know what happens, what I will anticipate, kind of a grinding down along the line and then possibly a bounce up. But the 1-year price target is 1545. So according to the analysts, some upside potential. But right now we are going downward on the 5-minute channel. Okay, that next level is 925, and 945. 866, middle of the trend and support. 826, 807, and no way we're getting here on Monday, but that's down the road. 787. Now for your gap recap. This gap opened up and closed out as well on Friday. It opened up on Thursday, closed out at 882, and now we ran up, grinding sideways, up a little leg, down, and then here. So I anticipate a little bit of a sell-off for a potential reversal to the upside, possibly. Well, according to the analysts, but we're not even close to that. So the next gap that I will be tracking will be this one, and that will take us to 955, starts at 950. And then a couple other ones, but we're not there, not even close. Don't even want to talk about it. TSLY. We are going up on the 5-minute channel, as you can see. 1505, down 0.99%. Give you the price targets. Resistance and a potential take profit area. 1563, 1636, 1674, and no way are we going to get here on Monday at 1712. When we're down here, I can only hope to get here or even here, but I don't know about that in one day. But out here and here, these outliers, no way. A miracle has to happen. Something major has to happen, and I don't think that's going to be in store for us on Monday. So conservatively, 1562. Now, looking back at your gap recap. Let's start with this one. This one opened up on Monday right out of the gate. And we touched right here. We gapped down, so I anticipate it to fill on the way up, and it touched right there, 1335. And this gap is an extension from the previous week, and we are going up, so we're not going to touch. See how we are going farther away. And this one, now when I extend my gaps, I don't know where it's going to touch, so I just extend it out, and we touched right here. So that means I need to clean up my chart. That's what you got to do when you look back. And it started at 1425, closed out at 1457. So again, this gap in play, but this one is done right here. So boom, delete, delete. So I know looking at it, it's done. We are cleared. But this one, we gap down. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we touched right here. I'm sorry. This gap, this box is the touch point. So we gapped from here to here. So that line is where I drew this next gap, okay? So that is done, and it touched right here. I was like, that doesn't make sense if this touched and this didn't. So there we are. So that's done at 1379, closed out at 1405. I'm also in this trade. So this looks like a mess here. Let me move that. Let me move this. Oops, move that out of the way. So it looks like this gap is an extended gap that I did not move forward. And then what do we have here? This baby gap here. Okay. And then this gap right here. So it's easier to flip to the 15, but I really don't want to spend too much time on this because I have so many other tickers to go through. But just know that I've been tracking this for a very long time, and I will let you know about the other gaps to the upside when we get closer to them. So this one opened up last week on the 24th. This is still in play, but we are again going farther away from it because we were going up. If we reverse course, then I can see that we would close this out, but we are not even close. So the next one, I'll just mark out this bottom line and call it good for that. And then this upper one there. And analysts do not give price targets, if you didn't know this, for ETFs. You will not find one. But I don't need them to tell me where price is going because I can chart it out myself. I at this point do not need to rely on anyone because I've taught myself how to use this chart, and I can confer with other people, but I like to map this out myself, and that way I can look at it anytime I want and know the direction we are going and on what time level. I used to have to rely on people just to give me price targets, but not anymore. Thank goodness. All right. And if you're not there, one day you will be if you look at charts as much as I do and look at it every day and just practice, practice, practice. You'll get there. All right. So these are the targets right now. Again, we are right here for the week. So 1637 is a good point right here, and that is in line with this gap. Now, for the low, since I am tracking this week by week, you can see that our low point was right here. I'm going to do one thing. Oh, let me turn off my magnet because it makes my chart look wonky. So from here to the high point of right here, for the week, we're up 20%. So congratulations if you were in this trade for this week, roughly 20%. I'll just delete that now. Makes my chart look messy. All right, Pfizer. This does not look good for Pfizer. We are in a downward channel, but that doesn't mean you can't make some money to the upside and obviously to the south side if you like to go short. But we ended the week at 25.40, up 0.55%, 25.62, 25.80, and should we be so lucky as to get to here, 25.99. Support and a bounce, 25.24, 24.87, 24.67, and 24.49. Note the bounce at support, and here also at support, sell off at resistance. Now, resistance. Now for your gap and go. Oh, I should say your gap and go recap. So the only gap that is still in play is not from last week, but that started on the 10th. So this gap is still in play right here. So I extended that, and we are so not close to that gap. Not in the zone, nowhere close. So don't even put that on your radar right now. We've got many trades before we can even get to that side. And for Pfizer, I believe there were other gaps, but again, check out the ticker on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly, and you can see the other gaps if there are any. But right now, I've got to clip along. 31.88 is where we ended with Intel, down 9.20%. It's based off of earnings. The reported, and then the estimate. Why is it that you get slammed even though you reported great numbers, but the street didn't like it? I mean, it's just so pathetic. Ugh, it drives me crazy. All right. Now, the price targets. Ignore all the horizontal lines. Let me just delete this one for giggles. All right, one down, many more to go. Resistance from where we are, 32.36, 34.38, 35.43, 36.45 to the south side, 30.26, 29.25, and 28.22 for your gap recap. So this gap is an extension of something I've tracked previously on the 12th of April, still in play, but we are going away from this as we continue to go south. We have not reversed course. We have not barcoded to make this chart go sideways and then eventually up. So still going down. This gap opened up. We gapped up. I anticipate a gap to the south side. And did that touch? I think I might give it as a no. See, when you do this, it did not touch. Okay? So sometimes you have to blow it up. So we touched right here. This gapped down, but that is a touch right here. So that is no longer a threat to our account to the south side. Of course, there are other threats. This is not one of them. This closed out at 34.32. And this gap I am tracking to the north side, as I mentioned, at 36.70. And then we've got some other potential gaps to the upside. Not even going to bother to clean that up yet. SLB, Schlumberger. 49.20 is where we ended, down 0.5% to the north side. 49.80, 50.08, 50.36. We are at the middle of the trend. From here down to here, that is support. And another level of support, 48.63, 48.35, and 48.06. If we are down here and we go up to the next line, that turns into resistance. Now for your gap recap. This gap is still in play that I'm tracking, taking us to 50.06, closing out at 50.93. Note the bounce at support here, here, and here, sell off here. Anything outside of this, here, here, and here, are basically your outliers, your sell signals if you're trying to buy and sell and doing that constantly. These are your buy lines. Here, here, and here. These are your sell lines. Sell, sell, sell. Excuse me. Sell, sell, sell. Buy, buy, buy. Potentially. That's how I do it. Baba. In a nice upward channel. Finally, things are moving along for Baba. Oh, shoot. I've lost. Oh, there we go. If you've lost a chart or a line, hit Command Z. That'll bring back what you did. It'll undo your last thing. All right. 75.55 is where we ended, up 0.59% to the north side. Resistance and a potential take profit area, 76.19. Another area, 76.98. No way we're going to get here, 77.38 and 77.75. It has to be a miracle to get us up there. A huge gap up, possibly, just like we had a bunch of gaps. 75.41, 74.99, and 74.62. Now for your gap recap. Let's start with this bottom one. This is an extension to the downside, but we're not close. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. We are going farther away from this point going up. Now, this gap from the previous week did close out right there to the upside. So I will delete that and that. And a bounce, you can see, off support, a buy in there. Did it 2 times before we ripped to the upside. So if we're down here to here, that's a normal move. But from here, in one day from here, blazing through here to get up to here, don't bank on it. So this gap that I've been tracking closed out right here as well. So yay, done and doneer. Just kidding. And then this gap that I've been tracking, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. I'm just going to show you BABA because it's been a hot mess. Just taking it to the 15-minute time frame. Look at all the weeks I've tracked this as part of my gap and go. And the gap that I'm waiting for to fill will take us to 87.03. And then this will fall off of my list. Oh no, I got another one over there. Never mind. This will be on my gap and go list for a long time. And as a matter of fact, I need to change this. This is number 21. Oops. If you don't know, if you want to rename that, this is my 21st week of tracking this one. But obviously I've tracked it for a very long time. I'm in this trade. Oh, so I cleaned that up. And this one, oh yeah, what was that? Sorry, I got sidetracked. Look, I've lost one of my lines again. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Good Lord. This is the thing I don't like about TradingView. If anyone knows of a better charting system company, let me know. Although TradingView has some great points and features. Someone asked me what I was using here, and I said TradingView, and I do have a link to it if you want to buy a subscription. You do not need to have a subscription. I told this gentleman the same thing. Do not buy a subscription until you've charted for several months to get the hang of it, to see if you like it. I bought a subscription so I can do more charting, more indicators, but you don't need it, and I can't stand commercials. So they have ads on here that pop up that drives me batty. I don't even watch commercials when I watch TV, and I barely watch TV. So that is why I have a subscription. But if you're just starting off, don't do it. Get used to it. Learn it for free, and then go forward. So this closed out at 76, roughly 38. Let me go to the 15-minute time frame. And I have to go slower. When I move quickly and chart, things just, TradingView cannot keep up because my I don't know, the cursor gets wonky. It's just terrible. Okay, this is done. So I will delete that because this box touched. That box did not touch all of it. So this is at 76. Wait, this is 76. Hold on, let me just make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to even go to the 30-minute to make it clearer to me. Okay, so this touched at 76.36, done. And then down here, so I erased that already. So we've got this gap in place still. Now, while it touched to the south side, the bottom part, it did not touch up here yet, so that's still in play. And this one is still in play. And that's all I'm going to extend for now because these other ones were not there yet. Oh, heck, I'm just going to do it while I'm here so I know to clean this up. All right. Oh, this one is done at 70. Wait, 70, this box. Nope. Okay, that's still in play on the bottom side. The top has not closed, and this bottom. Okay, I think that looks good to me. If not, I'll just clean it up later. No big whoop. And then we have, oh, what is going on here? We have gaps to the south side. Keep that in mind. Clean that up later. Oh, and this one, this gap opened up on Friday and fortunately closed out as well, so no longer a threat to us. It was a short threat at 75.15. Now this one, oh, as I'm looking at this, we have not touched down here either. So we've got 3 gaps to the south side when this reverses course, and it will reverse course, just a matter of when. Could be a long time now. Fingers crossed we don't go back down there. We've had so much pain with this ticker. 94.12 is where we ended for Nike. up 0.19%. We are at the middle of the trend and the baseline where price has to go through to get to the downside or to the upside. 95.25, 95.81, and 96.36. If you watched any of my videos, I say the same things over and over again. That is how redundant and how these charts just cycle themselves over with support and resistance. That's all you need to know. Okay, so down here, 93.03, 92.48, and 91.91. Bounce at this support area. Sell off. Now for your gap and go trades. Excuse me, that was your gap, and I'm going to give you a gap recap. So we have this gap in play. I might as well just flip this to the 15 so you can see it better. This will take us to $100.78 should we be so lucky as to get there, but it's going to take a while. So still in play. And there's another one still in play here. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, but someday 122.40. Back to the 5-minute. Baba. Oh, Baba. This one's been nasty to us. All right. It's just dropping and dropping and dropping, but we did have a bounce here. Right now, for your price targets out, we ended the week at 167.22, up 0.25%, a quarter percent, 170.19, 172.86, and 175.48 if we get to here, which I don't know if we will. Expect a crack in price as people take their profits and they run. Support 164.85, 159.47, 156.72-ish. Was that 72? 81. And 154.11. For your gap recap, this gap opened up on Wednesday and closed on Wednesday as well. So we've closed out at 169.04. Now this baby gap to the upside is still in play, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Okay, that's so bad it won't even look. It gets, oh yeah. Let me just, this other gap right here to 198.51. And is that it? Oh yeah, all these other gaps. That's for another lifetime, it seems. All right, so that's it right there for Boeing and Tesla. We gapped up on some good news. They're bad earnings, but there was some good news on the, well, this ended here 9 minutes ago, but it's not 9 minutes ago. This is dated now. Tesla clears key China assisted driving hurdle with Baidu deal. Bloomberg News says. So check that out. Gapped up, even though we had bad earnings. See how that works? Just because you have bad earnings doesn't mean it's going to go down. As a matter of fact, sometimes I typically see good earnings and then the stock crashes. Go figure. Wait, did I give you price targets? I think I did. Yeah. I think I got sidetracked. I think I did. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time, but just very quickly. 174.59 and 182.91. To the south side, 166.41, 162.25, 157.82. For your gap recap, let's start with this baby gap that started on Monday right out of the gate. We gapped down, so I anticipate the gap to fill to the upside, and it did right here at 146.80. This gap from the previous week was in play, no longer in play, touched right there on Wednesday. And then this one, because the gap went so high up there, and that touched as well. So yay. Some positive news to the upside here. All of this, all of this filled the gap. And you just never know when we gap. You look for the gaps and it could take forever to fill. Or in one lickety split, as you can see, 2 gaps filled in one day to the upside. And that's a lot. Now, if you tracked just for the week, because that's all I'm doing, the horizontal line is my demarcation of the week. If you just concentrate on the week, you can just see the pattern. Makes it easy for you. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, where am I going? How far out am I? Just do it a week at a time here. If you are trading, if you're buying, investing, obviously that's not what I'm talking about. From here, the low point of this past week, roughly there. And then if we touch here, that was 21%, but we went even higher about there. So that's a 24% return for this past week. Very nice. Finally, we were bleeding out. Some of us are just finally catching up. Or you're still massively upside down. But that's okay. Tesla will rebound. Now, for your gap, well, I should say your other gaps that I have tracked previously. Now these are in play, but look at this. So this could potentially hit. Let's move this forward as well and see where we go. And option R to reset. I'm going to delete this price thing because that is in my way now. So these gaps definitely, if we continue to go up on the 5-minute time frame, this will definitely touch 174.86, and the lines will change every 5 minutes when the calculations are made. All right, and I will mark this up just for fun. This gap right here is roughly 176.52, and then this one takes us out. And that is looking like, if we should be so lucky as to get up to here, that could happen on Monday. Now this gap is still in play, unfortunately, but we are going farther away from it. So that's good. That is Tesla, and on to Apple. First, let me do your price targets so I don't get sidetracked. 169.30 is where we ended, down 0.35% to the north side, and resistance from where we are, 169.72, 170.77, 171.81, 172.43, and should we be so lucky as to get to this level, which we won't in one day, 172.97. We won't because we're so far down here. If we were here or here, then I would say we could. But from here to there, no. Unless some miracle happens, no. I don't anticipate it. I don't expect it. I don't anticipate it. Keep your expectations low. All right. For the gap, recap. This baby gap opened up and closed. It's so tiny that it did. But this was one gap that I was tracking, and we touched on Monday. So this is done. That was to the upside. So congrats if you made some money buying down here somewhere and then riding it up to there and getting off the gravy train. All right, your other gaps. Oh, this one closed. Oh, yay. See how when you get rid of the price, you know then that we closed out. So now these gaps are still in play. And wait a minute. Oh, look, it touched here and I didn't chart it out. So that's done. This is why I have to clean up my charts, whether I do it with you or on a different time frame that I play. And obviously you will see that on the bigger time frames. So what we can look forward to is 179, option R, reset. So that's right here. Many, many, many trades away, okay? 179 here, sorry. The beginning is 176. And then to the downside, we're right here at roughly 160-ish, 35, 26, something like that. And let me see this gap. Oh, yeah. All right, this gap touched, and I did not erase that. And I will. So this gap is no longer a threat to our accounts to the downside. And that took us to 164.19. Delete. Delete. I am deep into Apple. Maybe one day I will share with you my holdings. But right now, this thing is bleeding out and I don't even want to talk about it. But I'm still up massively with this, okay? So the gap recap. This opened and closed out last week up to 166.81. Okay, if we continue going down, this will touch. See, we're up here. Yeah, this could touch on Monday if we just flush all the way down. But I don't know. I think there will be a buy-in if so. It's going to be a big battle. That's all I know. Okay, oops. See how that line just went wonky on me? Command Z. All right, that's it for Apple. The last one is Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. I'm in this trade for my mom. I've done well for her on this, even though we are going down, unfortunately. It's terrible. All right, we ended the week at 251.78, up 0.93%. Obviously, opportunities to hit resistance, and from where we are, obviously that's going up, and then a sell-off because we are at a critical point. Now, your price targets, 253.33, 255.95, 258.50, 248.19, 242.94, 240.44, 237.93. Now for your gap recap. This gap opened up on Tuesday and closed out on Wednesday, so that's no longer a threat to our accounts. 247.52. I say accounts because I have multiple accounts, but I really probably should just say to our account. All right. This one will take us down to $249.51-ish. Okay. And this, we gap down. So on this one that opened up last week, I anticipate it to fill to the upside, touching right here to complete the gap at 250.49. So that is done. It opened up and closed up on Thursday and Thursday. Okay. Now this one still in play to 256.75. But unfortunately, we are going down. So I don't know if we're going to make it there on Monday, but perhaps later on in the week, if we reverse course, that would be nice. And just for giggles, I forgot to mark this one out. So that finished on April 12th. No longer a threat here as well at 253.76. Now for the week, that's this price is at Friday. This is on Monday. The lowest point here, roughly, to the high point here. That's only a 2% return on VTI. All right. That does it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of April 29th through May 3rd. And that is the gap recap for April 22 through the 26th. And I hope you have a great upcoming trading week.